Hey guys, we'll give it one more minute, then we will launch in. All right, let's go ahead and get started, you guys. Thank you so much for jumping on today. Um, and I really want to tell you how much I appreciate seeing all the usual folks on every week, regardless of what my content is. I know it's probably not the most fun thing to sit here and listen to me drone on, but I really do appreciate your commitment to learning and being on here as frequently as you are. Um, my topic for today is to take a little bit of a deeper dive into a free application that's been around now for many years called Canva. And the reason why I wanted to do this today was because I think that regardless of whether or not you're brand new to the business, like this is your first day on the job, or you've been doing this for 10 years, I think that um, we all have room to improve on our marketing. So if you take the brand new agent as an example, they probably have zero marketing knowledge or resources. And a new realtor is likely going to feel um, unsure about representing people if they don't feel like they got the goods, right? And I think that the easiest, most professional way to communicate your value and who you are as a professional is through some of the things that I will show you today. As for a seasoned realtor, um, I think that you're always probably looking for ways to beat the competition. And I think that although this system has been around for a while, I don't see a lot of people using this, I mean, even outside the brokerage, to the fullest extent. And I think that once you kind of pick up a couple of things, and make them your go-to, I think you're going to be impressed on how little effort this actually takes. So I will say this, that I could spend all day giving you a tutorial on Canva. It does a bunch of stuff, but I know from experience that the minute I start to overwhelm people, they're going to check out and not do any of this stuff. So my mission today is to more or less scratch the surface on five things that I want to show you how to create in Canva. So one thing about this application, like a lot of them, is that there is a paid version and a free version. The free version you can absolutely utilize to its fullest extent and still do everything that I'm going to show you today. I will tell you that for 120 bucks a year, so that's 12, not even 12 bucks a month, you can get the paid version. And do you see down here in the lower right-hand corner on some of these graphics where it has a little crown? Well, that denotes the pro membership, and that is only accessible if you pay the 120 bucks a year. There are plenty of other options available if you don't want to pay it, but I will tell you this. Um, a lot of people, especially new realtors, ask me, what do I need to spend my money on? What do I not need to spend my money on? What you don't need to spend your money on, a couple of examples. Sponsoring an ad on the back of a shopping cart, putting an ad in a high school football games program. Stuff like that is just a waste of money. And I guess my point is that if you have 120 bucks a year, this is going to be money well spent. You will not regret this. You'll want to auto renew every single year. Okay. So I really encourage you to delve into this. Now, um, what I like about Canva is that even if your resistance to technology on a scale of 1 to 10 is a 20, you will find this system extraordinarily user friendly. Like, how long has Microsoft Word been around? Right, like 30 years, right? And I still have issues with spacing and tabbing and formatting, and it's a train wreck. And I've been doing this for a long time. Well, Canva's architects have really done a very good job at not locking down anything in any of these templates. And you'll see what I mean in a second. So if you are not poised to take notes, I think you should. And the first thing I'm going to review is a simple brochure. And the thing I want you to take notes on, and as always, I'm recording this, so you can always come back here and stop and start the video. That's not what I want you to take notes on. I want you to take notes on how you can use these five different things. So a brochure you can use for current listings. So if you have a listing, imagine all of the buyers coming into that listing, and on the breakfast bar is a nice two-page or trifold glossy brochure about the house, right? Not to mention that it will knock the socks off of your seller. Okay. The other thing is self-promotion. You can use this brochure, and I do this. I actually made mine from Vistaprint, so either or is fine. But when I go to a job fair, um, things of that nature with champions and other folks, I have a bifold brochure that tells everybody what White Rock Realty has to offer. So similarly, you could do one for yourself. And I've always said that a piece of printed uh, collateral like that, especially on self-promotion, is always going to have staying power, right? So it might be sexy and cool to send people a V card with your contact information, but when someone can hold something in their hand, especially after you've left, and refer to it, um, they're going to remember you. So that's number two. Number three is listing presentations. So you could do either of those two options for a listing presentation. So envision going into a conversation with a potential seller, and in your listing packet, you have either a sample brochure that you're going to make for them. It's not with their house yet, but hey, if you can get a picture of their home and slap it in there, all the better. Or it could be a self-promotion piece of your own. Okay, so those are the three things that you can use for a brochure. Now, all you need to do is type in this search bar, and I'm on the home page, okay, and just type in real and look at all the things that come up. And if you type in real estate, there's all these different things that come up, and you could just do, hey, let's search for everything they have for real estate. I mean, and they're going to throw in every possible graphic they have, right? So the most common ones are going to be for just listed, just sold, and open house, and self-promotion, right? Which is what this lady did right here. All right. So, but let's just search for a real estate brochure. Now, I'm assuming that if you have any interest in using Canva, then you're like me and you have zero talent and you have zero desire to create any of this stuff from scratch. However, if you are hardwired that way, you could do this, create a blank brochure. But that's not what I want you to remember today. Um, it automatically defaults to templates. So this is the whole value proposition of Canva. You do not have to worry about creating any of this yourself. Okay. So here are a bunch of brochures. These look like typical kind of trifold. This might be a bifold. And you can even put in here, if you only wanted to search for bifold deals, those would come up, right? So um, again, the ones with the little crowns are paid. So assuming that you're not going to do any of that, let me just click onto this one. And it's going to say, okay, let's customize this template. Now, it is going to assume that you want these printed, and that's why it's asking you these various questions. Okay. And then at the end, it'll say, hey, to print this, it's, whatever, 95 bucks for 100 of them or whatever. So this is how the brochure would look. Here's page one and page two. All right. But the best way to get kind of indoctrinated into this application is to just go in there and start doing stuff because you're not going to break anything. And so, to my point earlier, um, everywhere that I'm hovering, pay attention to that box, that blue box that it's outlining. There isn't anything I'm clicking on that you can't change. Okay, including the color. So I just clicked on this contact us. So if you want to, make this all consistent with White Rock's colors, uh, you can come up here and pick your color. Right. So I've mentioned many times that I am colorblind, so I could pick the shade of blue that I think our logo is if it even is blue. It's probably purple because I get those two mixed up all the time. Don't judge me, but I'm going to make a mistake. But you guys will be better at this than I will, so God bless you. Reserve your ribbing amongst yourselves behind my back like normal people. But you can change all this, right? And you can change the transparency. All right. So if you want this less dark, more dark, whatever. Okay. Or um, if you wanted to put our logo on there, and let's do that. So anything that you click on, it's going to offer you an option of many things. Either duplicate it, write over it, or trash it, and all these other options. So because I want to replace our logo for this, I'm just going to hit the garbage can. And oh, by the way, if I didn't want to do that, you could go up to the upper left and just click undo. Okay, now similar to a lot of systems, it is saving this stuff as I'm going. So there is no save button. All right, so let's say that I want to get rid of this and replace it with White Rock's logo. So I'm going to come over to the left-hand side and under uploads, I have uploaded over the years. Um, Here are all the pet pictures from when I did the pet of the week. Um, Various logos, right? So I'll just click this and it'll automatically jump it in there. Now I'll have to tweak it, right? So I'll come over here and kind of shrink it, but you can just grab this thing, left click it, grab it up here. Maybe you want it a little bit bigger. And then if I want to center it, you see where those lines on the right there means it'll align up with whatever it thinks you're kind of dragging it to. Oh, there's the middle. There it is. So now I know it's in the middle. So you just have to mess around with it to get it to do what you want to do. Okay. So this looks like a self-promotion brochure. So it has a little bit about us. And if you wanted to, you know, get rid of that, you could, and then you could type your own stuff. Please hire me as your next realtor. You won't be disappointed. I'm a rock star. Ask anyone. Okay. And I've misspelled disappointed, so I have to click on that. I always get that one wrong. But you kind of get the idea, and you can increase that. And when you click on any of these things, other options up here will come up, right? So if I wanted to bold all that, I could. If I wanted to increase the font, I could. If I wanted to change the type, I could do that. Okay. So let me just make sure I'm not. Okay. So the one thing I wanted to show you guys is um, you ever have a picture where like the subject matter you like, but there's stuff in the background you wanted to remove? Well, the minute you pick on anything that is a photo, a little prompt comes up here that you may not exactly know what it is. Now, this is only Pro, but it's a background remover, right? So I've clicked this. I have no idea what this is going to do, but let me just click background remover. And it's, oh, there we go. So there was a sky there, right? So this is the after. That was the before. Okay, so if you're like me, the pictures that you might take aren't always ideal, that might need some editing. You can do it right in here. Okay, you can do it right in here. So let's say that you have your brochure and you might have to move your Zoom pictures, but you'll see where it gives me an option to buy these to print this for $94 for 100. All right, so they're about a buck, right? So that must be with tax and all that delivery. Well, I guess it's free delivery. But so for less than a buck, you get 100 of these. All right, so if you have a listing that's going to be on the market for 60 days, I mean, these work great for any listing, but I mean, if your price point is 600 or higher, you got to have this, right? This is not just another price point, it's another lifestyle. So impress your sellers and have this stuff. Now, if you didn't want to do that and you wanted to just kind of go rogue and save it yourself and print it however you wanted to, Canva's superpower is getting all of this into a format that works best for you. And if there's one button you should remember, it's this one in the upper right-hand corner for share. When you click share, um, you can do a couple of things. If this happened to be, um, well, let's just use this example. It's a self-promotional flyer, and let's say that um, you wanted to do one for a customer that was farm and ranch, a customer that was a $500,000 home, a luxury client, or a lease. You might want to change up how this looked, right? You can do that let me go back, sorry. So what I did was click share, and then I clicked these three dots, okay? And in here, you can do a bunch of stuff, one of which is template link. So if you uh, copy this and give this to somebody or just kind of save it to refer back to it, this is the link for your work. It will actually go back here. Okay. So this is one where you can just kind of keep going back to over and over and over again. Now, you could also create a QR code for this, which is right here. All right. Now it'd have to be, you might have to host it somewhere. No, it's right there. Okay. So if you want to give a QR code to this piece of artwork, you could do that too. All right. Um, but the thing I wanted to show you was the download functionality. So this is the one you're going to use most often. So if you click download, it will give you a suggested format, and that is usually a picture. But if this is a brochure, you may want to print this, of course, right? So here are all the other formats you can print this in. So they have a PDF standard, they have a PDF print. So if I were going to go take this to maybe give it to Vistaprint or give it to somebody local that might be better or less expensive, I might choose to do this as a PDF. All right. So I click that. When you click download, it's going to be thinking and it should pop up right here in the upper right. It's pretty color rich, so it probably takes a minute, right? All right. And that's what it looks like in PDF, right? So any printer is going to know that it's a one-page trifold brochure because this is the front and this is the back. So you can kind of see these blank spaces here where this is the kind of the implied break, right? So, I mean, golly, talk about something that's powerful, right? Um, Now, you could sub this out and have someone write the content, or have Chat GPT do it. But so whether it's you doing it or Chat GPT or a combination of, I would do it because you want to make sure that the content speaks best to your customers, and you're only going to have to do this once. Maybe you'll come back every now and then and tweak it, but just do the heavy lifting once, and it will be saved forever in your Canva projects. Okay. So this is the PDF format. You could come back and save it as a JPEG if you wanted to. Okay. Now, the cool thing that I like, and this is really gonna more, I'm gonna further emphasize this when I get to showing you how to do social media posts. But if you're an old guy like me, you're doing stuff on a PC, right? However, Canva does have an app that you can do this on. If you're like me and you want to see things kind of in this format because they're a little bit larger, there is actually a send to phone option. So when you click download, whoops, what did I do? Oh, sorry. Hang on. You got to click the three buttons, and there's actually a send to phone option. Because when you're doing social media posts, whether you do them here or not, they got to get to your phone somehow, right? So there is an option to send this to your phone, which I thought was pretty cool. Okay. Now, if you ever want to come back to this, and oh, by the way, if I happen to like this layout and this color scheme, and I am doing this for a renter and a farm and ranch person and a luxury person, and I just want to tweak maybe one or two things, you can always come up here and duplicate. Okay. So page one has a duplication, and so does page two. And now it's a 4-page document versus a 2-page. And if you wanted to only print page one and two, you could do that. It's extraordinarily flexible. Okay. So that's the brochure. So again, good for active listings to keep out on the coffee table or breakfast bar, self-promotion, hand them out to anybody and everybody, and listing presentations. All right. Any questions about that? All right. So, and as a review, uploads are where all of your pictures come. You could import any of these on here, right? And you can junk any of them. All right. And a couple of the other things that I didn't review, you could add text here if you wanted to. And let's just say that you wanted this last bit of, body text, let's say, it'll put it here, it'll put it somewhere in the document, and it's up to you to fill it in and to decide where it goes. But you can drag this anywhere you want. So you see how easy that is? All right. So let's say here under contact us, you had a YouTube channel, which I do. So let's say I wanted to put my YouTube channel in there. I could do that. Okay, so you kind of get the picture. And since it's not white, you could go up here and change the color, right? It's probably not the same color white. Again, the colorblind thing. But yeah, that's how you do that. So before I move on, the last thing I want to just mention on any of this stuff is that again, it will save this forever and ever and ever. And all you need to do is go to projects and let me get out of, oh, hang on. Okay, I'm back home. Um, yeah, so here's the projects. And so everything that I've ever worked on ever since I did this is right here. They don't delete stuff. If I wanted to come back and redo any of this stuff, I could, right? So, and it'll pick up right where you left off. It auto saves. All right. So the next thing I want to go into is logos. So we're back on our home page and let's just search for real estate logos. And the reason why I'm doing real estate is because this system was made for us. And yes, it has logos for other stuff, but the more specific you can be, the quicker you're going to get this done. So I offered to do this for you. I think it's got to be well over a year ago, but you don't need me. So they all kind of have the same dimensions, but look at how many different ones there are just for real estate. And there are plenty on here that don't have the little crown, right? And remember, if you're a realtor in Texas, or really any of the other states that I'm in, um, if you want to brand yourself separately from White Rock, you can do that. You just have to have brokered by White Rock Realty in there somewhere. It doesn't have to be here on this logo. It could be anywhere in your advertisement. But you are more than welcome to do that. In fact, I encourage you to do that. And if you want to create a team name, remember that one person can be a team. Doesn't matter. So this is kind of in my mind what I'm thinking this would be used for. So again, if you're taking notes, um, logos would be good for self-branding if you wanted to kind of depart from the brokerage's branding. Um, and I know a realtor locally, and she has the good fortune of her last name being Wise. And so she really capitalizes on that name. I think Josh is on today, Josh Kraft. I mean, what a great name, Kraft. You can do all sorts of stuff with that last name. So this is kind of what I'm getting at. And you could put this on all of your marketing material, business cards, flyers, and the geniuses at Canva have already come up with the logos. Do you know how many times I've paid Fiverr to come up with this stuff? I mean, it's ridiculous. So let's poke into this one and let's do customize template, which means you're just going to edit it. That's all that means. So let's say you wanted to go nice and simple, clean, black and white, script, right? So any of this stuff uh, you can either add or get rid of. So because your name isn't going to be Warner, I put in Anderson. So you have to decrease this, yeah, to make it fit. So I had to decrease the script there. And I might even want to take it down a little bit. And then I don't know, I should be able to get rid of Spencer. Oh, yep, there we go. Okay. Uh Anderson, home team. Well, hang on. It's got to end in group or team, right? So let's just do home team. All right, so that's how it would look if I just took 5 seconds to change what was already there, right? Because I like the graphic, and if I'm going to change the graphic, I shouldn't have chosen this anyway, right? So I chose this for a reason. I liked visually how it looks. Now, if I wanted to change the background, could change the color again, right? God, that's horrible. You do that, whatever, right? So they had it transparent or white. Um, and that's how that would look. So, and you could add other stuff on there. I mean, you could, if you wanted to have brokered by White Rock Realty, you could add text. It's just
Where do you go to add the text?
over here. And you might, if your Zoom pane is in the way, you might have to move it, but there's options on the left, and one of them is text.
Got it. Thank
All right. So, and you could go about matching the scripting and all that, but I like this. So, if I'm ordering business cards or any kind of printed material, it's going to be online, right? Likely. So when I go to download this, again, upper right, click share. It already thinks that I should download this as a picture file. So I'm gonna do that. Now you could do this as a PDF, doesn't matter, but I'm just thinking in terms of your usage. So this is what it would look like. Now, once you get this into where you're putting it, you can crop it, you can edit it however you want. But how cool is that? And then let's say that um, I liked everything about this, but I have a graphic that kind of tells people what I'm about. Let's say I love animals. I don't know. Let's do an upload. Well, actually, let's just do this picture of a key and a home. And let's say that's just a sample of something that's on every single one of my marketing pieces. You could do that, right? Now, it kind of defeats the purpose of this particular example because it's starting to look cluttered, but you kind of get the idea. And then you could, if you had a like a watermark background you could put on there, you could do that too, whatever you want. And so now this becomes a part of your personal branding. All right. But, we didn't have to look very far to get these. So hang on. I mean, and if you just keep scrolling down, it just goes on forever, and so sky's the limit. And plenty of these do not have that little crown. And you can do a lot with it if you wanted to. All right. So those are our logos. Okay. So let's talk about flyers. Okay. If you're taking notes, this is what I would suggest you use the flyers for. The list is long. Open houses, just listed, just sold, buyer seller presentations. And so, what do I mean by that? Well, if it's a buyer presentation, this would kind of act like the one-page resume. But I mean, I'm not too proud to tell you that these brochures, if you're using them for your own self-promotion, they blow away what I did. So you're not going to hurt my feelings if you wanted to use something here. I would encourage you to do that because they do it a heck of a lot better than I do. So when you envision yourself talking to a buyer, um, you're going to have a packet of stuff for them to review. And you're going to want to either give them that brochure that I mentioned earlier, or maybe it's just a one-page flyer, right? So you could do that. On the listing side, it might be an example of marketing material that you're going to do for them. And if you go to our website and look under what I want you to include in that packet, that's in there. And my suggestion is always do a piece of marketing with regards to a flyer with their own information in it, right? So if you come down, let's see, here, that's going to be pretty easy to do, right? So you just need to put a picture of their home in there. If it's a relist, pictures are on the MLS or they're on Zillow, doesn't matter, just grab them or stand outside and take a front picture, whatever. But that is going to emotionally connect them to you immediately. So that's another way. Um, Email campaigns, because you can save these as pictures. So it's not just for printed stuff. You can save these as, JPEGs or PNG files and just cut and paste them into email campaigns. The last is if you have listings and you're a realtor that puts out a yard box with flyers, this would be great for that too. I just think that, and I know that on the onboarding checklist, there's, sign up for Breakthrough Broker, and there's other companies that do this stuff. And I just get a sense that no one knows where to go to get their marketing, right? So you're always going to have to do open house flyers. Um, Likely going to always have to do just listed, just sold. This is where you would come for that. Okay. So I actually have one saved. Let me just get to that. Yeah. So in preparation for today's call, I just picked this one because I thought it was simple. Um, and it doesn't involve a lot of work. So I'm the first one to say that, hey, play to your strengths. If you don't like this stuff, if you don't want to do it, have somebody else do it. But I'm here to tell you, even for a dummy like me that neither has skill or the desire to do this stuff, it takes you 2 seconds. It really does, especially if you can cull through the thousands of options and just choose two that you like and keep those as permanent projects and just swap out pictures and bedrooms, baths, all that stuff, right? But pretty user friendly. If this wasn't the house, you can trash this. No, here it is. All right, so you're going to delete the image. Maybe I want to replace it with this. And the minute that you kind of capture it and move it up here. I don't know if you all caught that, but when I put it in here and I let the mouse go, it auto fitted it to the space. Okay. So let's say this was the house. If you didn't have pictures, let's say you didn't. Let's just say you had one, not two. Let's get rid of that. Actually, let's just get rid of the whole thing. I shouldn't have done that. Hang on. Getting rid of the grid means get rid of the fact that the system thought that there was supposed to be a picture there. All right. So you can move this one up. You could increase that if you wanted to, just to make it look normal. Obviously, you're going to swap out the price. Let's say let's act like it's 2018 again. This bad boy is going to go for $298,000. Man, where are those days? Right? I forgot the dollar sign. All right. And then, of course, you're going to be on here and maybe you replace that second picture with a picture of you. That might not be a bad idea. The address, and then maybe on here, because I didn't see it on here, how are you going to know when it is? Well, let's go to text. Let's do a little bit larger font. Oops. Geez. Let's move that down here. And let's just say Saturday, May 10th. I'm just going to hit space, 2 to 5. And so what would you do with this? Well, you could save this as a JPEG and send it out in an email campaign. In fact, let's do that. So remember to kind of enable this to go anywhere, you got to hit share. And I'm going to download this as a JPEG file. I'm sorry, PNG, same thing. It's an image file. And copy, maybe I copy and paste this into an email campaign for uh, buyers or my sphere of influence, whatever. All right. Or let's say the other use might be I want to print it. And again, they have a PDF for printing. I'm going to save it that way. And I'm going to leave it on the doorstep of 50 of the neighbors. All right. Because believe me, they already know that it's for sale because there's a sign in the yard. So this gives them permission to come on over and poke around. All right. So flyers have many, many, many uses. All right. And you can, get as simple or as complex as you want, depending on your desire, your skill set, have at it. But um, if you ever, so when you hop off this call, you're going to forget what we talked about. So let's just go back to home. And if you ever get lost, just type in real estate. All right. And in this case, just click on flyer, and here's all you can take advantage of. And they have self-promotion ones in here, by the way. Anyone that you see someone's picture on there, I mean, this is amazing. Really, really good stuff. Right. And I can guarantee that Vistaprint has a promo code every single day. So if you want to send these out, you can get these back in 3 or 4 or 5 days for really, really cheap. Okay. Um, the next thing is social media posts. So, as I said last week, do not take this to mean that the broker is telling you that unless you're on social media, you can't be successful in real estate. I think the opposite is probably true. They don't care what you had for dinner. They probably just care about whether or not you're a good realtor. So, however, that being said, real estate, social media, post. Okay, so here they all are. Now, if you wanted to specify where, you could put, Facebook on here if you wanted to. Okay, and here's a bunch of various content that you can either just post out or tweak a little bit. Here's a self-promotion one. I think I saved one, just that we're not. Yeah, here's an Instagram post. So this is specifically formatted for Instagram. Okay. You can change this. You can change this, this, whatever you want it to be, just as always. Right. So to reinforce how you get this to your phone, because this is all mobile app driven, right? So you come here, hit these three buttons, and send it to my phone. All right. So you could obviously, well, my phone's turned off anyway, but you would get out your camera, click the QR code, and it'll be on your phone because you've got to get it somewhere. You got to find a way to get it from this desktop to where you're actually going to post it. You're not going to be posting stuff on Instagram on a computer, right? So that's how you do that. So depending on the social media platform you want to go on, um, would be how you would search for it, right? So, right, so I just put Facebook post realtor, all this stuff. The key is that it's formatted for that application. All right. So it's not going to get all messed up when you transport it over there. So this is a great one. I mean, self-promotion, they get rid of her and then add your own photo in there. Let's say it's this pup, right? And oh, by the way, I don't like that background. So I'm going to hit the BG remover, background remover. It's going to get rid of the background. Isn't that cool? Right? So if the best picture you can get of yourself is you and your three drunken friends from last Saturday, and there's a bunch of garbage in the background, man, that's good. That'd do you some justice right there. Because I know how that works. You never look as good as you do when you're out with your friends, right? Spoken from a 57-year-old geezer. Let's move on. The next one. Well, hang on. Yeah. So social media for obvious reasons, self-promotion, just to have a presence. And then video. Okay, this is my last one. So let's go back. Let's just search for real estate video. And you saw when I put that in there that it said like Instagram stuff and all that. So there's a bunch of stuff you can do on here. But um, this is why I wanted to point this out because a lot of us just think, hey, let's just open up my camera, click video, and click it and do a video. And while that's great, this kind of takes it to the next level. So let's just take this, and I'm primarily thinking of this as self-promotion. Now, you could do one that highlights a home, and by all means do that. But I think this has a lot of traction when it comes to self-promotion. So let's just look at this one. I have one saved we'll look at in a second. All right, so this may scare you. Don't let it scare you, but you can change anything on here, right? Are you looking to buy or rent a property? Let's say that you wanted to say, I am, hang on, I am the go-to agent in Houston. All right, so now that's changed, right? And let's just start this from the beginning. Some have sound, some don't. And you can add sound on here, right? But isn't that cool? And because you can change anything, you could put your info here, whatever you wanted to do. But if you were ever scared about making a video, this is kind of how you do it. So let's review once more. Hey, Sandy, did you have a question?
I just had a quick comment. So at the top of your bar, whenever you're like creating a project, how it says white and blue professional real estate mobile video, whether you're doing a brochure or flyer, that's where you can change it and you can put the address of your project, or you can just put a whole bunch of, if you say flyers, and then when you add a page, you just keep the template and just change the address and information. You only print the needed page. But instead of each project saying like blue and yellow brochure or whatever, you can make it more personal by changing that title that's in that blue bar right there at the top.
Oh, here. Gotcha. Okay.
Right. So when you go to print it, and so instead of it saying white and blue professional, it'll say like 1115 Dickinson Avenue, for example. Or you could just put real estate flyers and then you print only page 1 or page 7 if you have like several of them for different addresses in that folder of flyers.
That's awesome. I did not know that. That's awesome. Um, So if you wanted to add on to this video, you could do that here. I haven't really played around with this a whole lot, but you can obviously do that. I guess I'm thinking that what I would add would be just a last like contact information page if you thought it was appropriate. But you can. I just clicked on that and hit delete, so I got rid of it. You could have done undo, but let's talk about how you download this. So as always, click share. And when you click download, this actually defaults to the most common format for a video, which is MP4. You could do this in these other formats. I don't know why you would, but just know that you can download this as a video file, right? And so depending on what you want to do with that, whether you put it out on social media or incorporate it into some kind of digital marketing campaign, um, that's why you would want it in that format. Now, the other thing I'm thinking of too is that, places like YouTube, they only take those types of formats as well. So if you wanted to transfer this to other mediums, um, that's why you download it that way. All right. But I think the sky's the limit for the video thing. You could do reels, you could do, all sorts of social media stuff. Once you get this to your phone, you could send that out to people. You send a phone, right? I mean, this is just amazing. All right. So that was it for the five things. So we talked about how to make a brochure, a logo, flyers, social media posts, and video. And if you remember nothing else, the spirit of today's presentation was so that you didn't have to recreate the wheel. Because I think when it comes to marketing, it's very overwhelming. And even though, even Canva has hundreds of different options, just choose one or two that are always your go-to. In fact, that's probably best anyway, because marketing or successful marketing is a result of consistency. So in the logo example, if they're used to seeing that house and Anderson in script, man, over time that's going to resonate with people, right? They're going to remember you that way. So um, I hope this helped you and kind of destigmatized how to approach your marketing. But um, any questions or comments?
I have one about copywriting. Once you create it, is there any copywriting that you're
No, it's all free. So now all this is free, Victor. So you don't have to copyright this. But if you personalize it and you want to copyright it, I mean, I don't know how you do that, but you can copyright it and go through that process. But these are not restricted.
okay? But let's say I got some mail and somebody wants to buy my house, and I want to create a brochure for me to buy houses, and I go ahead and put the same wording on a brochure here and send it over on the mail.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. It's all open source. It's not restricted.
Thank you.
Yep. Anything else? All right. Well, as always, I actually do like this stuff. I've when it comes to graphic design, I don't have a lot of skill there and don't have a lot of time to devote to it, but Canva has really, and there's 100 different other things that it does too. Um, that I'm sure would make my life and your life easier. So that being said, if you want to explore this more, please reach out to me and we'll get on a call and hash it out. I don't want you to feel stuck. But I think that if I do believe that this is one great way that's free and underrated for you to position yourself from a good realtor to a great realtor, right? It's all about competing for people's attention. And that's why I think social media is not that great anymore. I think it's too crowded. But this stuff is catchy. It's already been done for you. Why not use it? All right, awesome. Thank you for y'all's time. Next week will be our CE class with Allegiance Title. I'll send that stuff out early next week. It's on homeowners associations, and it will be taught by one of Allegiance Title's lawyers. So that'll be good. So anyway, that is it for today, and appreciate you hopping on, and we'll see you all next week.